Ladies and gentlemen, today is, February 20th, 2011, and I am Silverfish, and this is Overgrowth Weekly number 10. And with me today is Anton from a few of the previous shows. Say hi, Anton.
Hello, Anton. Oh, you said hi, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Anton.
Thanks. And we should have had Johannes with us today, but he hasn't showed up. I don't know if he just haven't woken up yet from his slumber sleep of tiredness or whatever. But let's hope he drops in before the interview. Otherwise, yeah, stuff is bad. So anyways, I guess we should just jump into this, and as usual we're going to start with taking a look at this week's alpha and what's new inside of that. So let's take a look at the changelog here. A pretty small changelog this week with only 4 points, and 3 of them aren't very exciting. I'm actually going to start out with the point number 2 first, and then the other 2, because I want to save the last one for, at the end there. So anyways, the second point is set up VTune profiler with frames and thread labels. I actually don't need what the frames and thread labels means, but VTune is a program or API or whatever, something that programmers use, and they tie it into their program, or in this case game, and it allows them to see exactly where in the game most of the resources are being wasted, so they can more easily find the resource hogs and optimize them. And I guess this has to do with the next point as well, which is fix occlusion query and FBO bottleneck. I'm guessing that he just tested out VTune and found these two bottlenecks. A bottleneck is a part in a program or a game that is the main resource hog. That makes sense.
It's a place where the data stream is slowed down, like a bottleneck when you pour out a bottle. That's where the term comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
So it's like, it doesn't matter how quickly it is before that, because it'll get slowed down by the bottleneck. So if you fix a bottleneck, it'll make everything run. It'll make everything run much quicker. And FBO means frame buffer object. Yes, and it feels like rendering shadows in this alpha. This might not be correct, but it feels like rendering shadows in this alpha is quicker, and I think that is because of optimizing the frame buffer object. But yeah, because frame buffer object is used to calculate shadows, or I think it's used for calculating shadows, because it says in its Wikipedia page that it can be used to like render stuff off screen. So rendering shadows, for example, should be something like that. Oh, I'm just so bad at this right now. And occlusion query means like excluding stuff from rendering if it's, for example, if it's not in your view, or if it's behind like a huge mountain. You don't need to render that small hut behind that mountain, so it can calculate that hut is behind the mountain, so I don't need to render that. Stuff like that, for instance. So it should run a bit better. I haven't noticed any huge performance boosts, but once he starts using this for real and actually start optimizing the game, that should be very nice. And the last point is disable the tilted head look on Wolf, and that's just when he added the head look on Wolf on the characters like 1 or 2 alphas ago. The head look on the Wolf was kind of bugged. He wouldn't look, he would instead just tilt his head for some reason, and that is disabled now, so yeah, cool. And now we're going to take a look at this one, testing animated textures with a TGA sequence and Theora video. Did I actually load up the map? Yes, I did. And as if you did watch this change log video, you would be able to see the fire effects. You can probably see that in the thumbnail there. But I actually tried putting in my own video in there to see how that worked. So let me just play that and see if it doesn't crash or whatever. Oh, there we go. I actually took like a video from a game called Nexuiz, and I think it's called Nexuiz. It's an FPS game. Let's put it there, and you'll see it better. And it actually works. It plays the video and stuff, but it doesn't really work as intended. It looks very weird. It's like ghosting kind of stuff. It's like it's playing two places in the video at the same time. It's very weird. And the weapon is off center and kind of stuff like that, but still it's working. And I think it's just because this video doesn't have the right dimensions and stuff like that. So yeah, whatever. I couldn't find any other video. I do want to know how to make these on my own, though. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is pretty cool.
I mean, playing videos, for example. So now basically you could make a TV in Overgrowth, right? Perhaps.
Right.
Perhaps. Can you think of any other uses for this, like playing video files or whatever?
Well, I think you could put in textures, moving textures, or yeah, like you said, the TVs. But you could also use it for animated cutscenes or something like that. I'm sure there's a lot of uses for something like this.
Yeah, it's very cool actually. I mean, this video is very long. It's still running, so you could do pretty cool stuff with this. Yeah, and also, by the way, guys, if you're a live viewer and you're in the chat, I and Anton will try to look at the chat and see if you're writing anything worth mentioning. So, if you have any questions regarding what we're talking about or whatever, you can just throw it out, and we'll try to, answer it if we see it.
Yes.
So that's that. Pretty cool. The video, this stuff will probably be used though for, I don't know, effects and stuff, I suppose. But I think they should just put in a Overgrowth TV instead or something. It would be cool if you could like stream to this. That would be kind of cool, right?
Wait, say this again. If you could stream what?
Stream to a video file so you can watch, for example, Overgrowth Weekly inside of the game.
You probably already can through WebKitten, can't you?
Well,
if you
in WebKitten, yeah, but that's not in
although
the
I don't
game
think it
world
has
and stuff.
Right, I don't think it has Flash. True. I was gonna say you could also like watch live TV from within Overgrowth.
Yeah, exactly. That would be
or Hulu
super cool.
or stream Netflix.
I actually I listened to podcast 17, I think it was, a week or two ago, and they said that there are actually people in GarageMod who like goes into servers and looks at video files. So they basically look at movies together in GarageMod. GarageMod, you know what GarageMod is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Half-Life 2 mod for anyone who doesn't know, like an FPS game. So they go into the game and watch a movie together in a server. That's pretty weird. But if you could watch live stuff via Overgrowth, that would be, that would trump that.
Right.
So that would be pretty awesome.
I have some friends who've actually given live concerts in Second Life where they will they'll be doing a concert and then they'll stream it to Second Life in real time. So the possibilities for this are certainly interesting, intriguing.
Yeah, Overgrowth could be Third Life or something. Third Life mod for Overgrowth. I can totally see that happening.
I see, but you have to play it from within Second Life. You have to go into the...
Yeah, but I mean making a Second Life mod for Overgrowth, calling it Third Life.
No, of course. I was saying that it could be a mod inside of Second Life where you can play Overgrowth as your third life.
Oh yeah, that would be sweet. So I heard you liked video games. Yo, dog. I heard you liked video games, so we put the game in your game so you can play while you play.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sweet stuff. So I think that's enough about that part. What's next on the agenda? Let's see on the agenda. All right, the art asset overview from Aubrey. Blah blah blah. Let's see. Second Life. Yeah. Second Life is kind of weird, isn't it?
It definitely is weird, and definitely I think it has its moments, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I'm going to throw on this art asset overview video here. It's 3 minutes and 36 seconds. So enjoy this video, guys, and remember you need to be quiet during this because you will.
I'll mute my mic.
Awesome. So
right.
see you guys in 3 minutes and 36 seconds. Bye bye.
Welcome to the Overgrowth Art Asset Overview. This week I worked on the comic. I usually start off a comic page by roughing out a few pages at a time so that I can see if the pacing and story is coming together. Once I'm happy with those pages, I will go in and clean them up and finalize all of the art. The comic's been on hiatus for a long time, but you can check out the new update at wolfire.com/comic. I think it's a little bit too much work for me to work on game assets and also work on a comic that's so complicated. In the future, I think I would not do coloring because it takes a lot longer. Another thing that I'd like to show off this week is a set of monoliths that I designed around platforming gameplay. I wanted to make something that looked cool and worked a little bit better with the existing prototype movement gameplay. One of the things that I like to do when I design a level is to not have any specific path in mind. So I just created a lot of different ways for you to travel through this level to this highest point over here on the other side. I think once a designer starts trying to force the player to play the game in a certain way, it causes a lot of other design decisions that are really not that fun. I kind of liked how all of these things looked tinted red, but you can tint them any color you want with the asset tinting tool built into the engine. Thanks for watching this week's Overgrowth Art Asset Overview. And don't forget you can pre-order the game at wolfire.com/preorder. Thanks.
And that was the art asset overview from Aubrey for this week. And before we dive into discussing that, I have a question first from Wolver. And he asks if about the previous part, if you can put the video files on a texture. Do you think we can do that, Anton?
I really have no idea, but I would assume you can. I think David talked about being able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure either, actually. I mean, he could probably make it so that you could do that if you can't right now, I suppose. I don't know.
Right. I think any kind of texture Yeah, I don't know. I'm a music guy. I don't know why you're asking me.
Well, I don't know either, so why? I don't know. Anyways, we also had another. Well, this is not a question though. This is a clarification by Dirver. I always have trouble pronouncing your damn name, Dirver. Dirver. I
Oh,
don't know.
David says yes, by the way. Wolfire Games in the chat just said, David says it does. Will be embeddable as a texture.
Okay, cool, awesome. Thanks, David. And who else? Dirver. Yes, Dirver said he clarified why I had that kind of double video ghosting effect, and that was because apparently the video is like split in half. So imagine that instead of there being just one video of a fire, there's actually two videos like of a fire right next to each other, but one side is only used for the alpha channel. So the right side might be where the white is where the fire is, and the black is where the transparency is, and the left side is the color. And so they take the right side and use that as an alpha channel for the put it over the left side. If you're using like graphics and stuff, you know what that's about. So that's why I got that effect, because it took the right half of my screen and used that as transparency for the left side of my screen. I hope that makes sense to some people at least. And also I want to mention a small thing before I move on, and that is, if you notice my texture, how it's like faded here towards the rock and stuff like that. It's like it like fades into stuff. It's like it almost has a volume. And this actually isn't activated by default, and I just wanted to let you know how to activate that. And it's very easy to activate, so if you have Overgrowth, just open your Overgrowth folder, go to your data folder, and open your config.txt. Let me size that down. And then you change post underscore effects to true, and this will allow this kind of more advanced effect to happen. So there you go, now you know how to do that. So let's talk about the art asset overview video. Let me bring that up again. Alright, there it is. Okay, so first, in the first part of the video, he showed some of the comic stuff, how he drew a piece of the comic. And yeah, I think it's really cool. I like seeing how he draws because, first off, I like his style a lot, and it's really useful in general to see how artists draw stuff. I mean, especially since I'm going on a concept art course myself, this is extra interesting for me. Even though you're like sound guy, do you think it's like intriguing to watch people draw like that?
I do. I think it's cool. It also reminds me how many times I've failed at trying to be an artist in my life. But yeah, it actually, it sort of inspires me to try a little harder every time I see what he does and how he does it. So I think that's great. I'm glad he posts those time-lapse videos. They're really pretty impressive.
Yeah, I totally agree. They're really, really, really great to watch. Also, we have another question from the chat here. It's Alien Woods who asks if Overgrowth Weekly is a spare time project, or do I have some budget to make it? No, it's actually a spare time project, and I'm a fan, so I'm not affiliated with Wolfire, like in any way. I don't get any money or anything like that, so yeah, that's that question. And so let's move on with the art asset overview. As we said, the comic part, really nice. Also, the comic is updated. I'll post a link to the update right here in the chat right now. So there you have the comic, and look at that. Let me open that up as well. So yeah,
we should look. Well, we should have briefly looked at it. I think it's a cool comic. I like the direction it's been going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think their comic viewer is pretty cool too.
Yeah, I wonder where they got this. It's pretty awesome.
They actually talked about it shortly after they first started publishing it. So, also what was sort of interesting was on the the most recent posts, to me it looked like oh, Jeff made it. That's right. I knew Jeff made it too.
Sweet.
So the art style seemed a little more like solid this time to me, less sketchy than it had in previous weeks. I don't know if you agree with that.
Actually, it was such a long time since I watched the previous ones, so let me see. I should probably not show the comic. You should watch it yourself, read the comic yourself, the new ones at least. I'm just showing some old ones here.
But see here, like what I'm seeing anyway with the video delay is like the colors in this area are much more, they're very kind of dark and the very kind of sketched look to it. And sort of in the newest, most recent pages, it seems they seem a little more solid.
Oh yeah, there's like a different style right here. I see that now. As you say, much less sketchy right here. It switches to almost a kind of bloom style, doesn't it? Like very smooth kind of color.
Yeah. So I think that's a cool. I like the new style. Although Aubrey also talked about how coloring was taking him a long time, and so future updates might be black and white, which I personally think is cool, especially compared to some of the beginning stuff where there wasn't strong color anyway. So
yeah, it doesn't really matter for me actually. I mean, it doesn't really matter. And if not coloring allows him to make more, that's it's not a question about it. He should just make it in black and white so we can get more instead. Because color doesn't really add that much. It almost, in my opinion, it almost makes it more visceral in some places. Or, it gives a very different feel. It doesn't detract from it necessarily that there is no color, if you know what I mean.
I agree for sure. So, one other thing I thought of before we move on, that Jeff built this comic viewer, is that all of the user interface is built using WebKit, including this comic browser. So in theory, you could have a comic browser like this within the game as well. So, if the game is ever updated that way, you could have a comic, or as cutscenes within a mod, you could use a comic as a cutscene or storytelling asset.
Yeah, totally. That would be sweet. It's really nice that they're using a web browser for the UI because it allows you to do so much. I mean, you can basically put anything. You can do anything with it. It's so awesome. I mean, you could add, for example, books. It would be like no problem to add, which in many other games you would have to like program like C++, make a new UI stuff for books and whatever. Now you just throw up a web page and then it's done, like in 10 minutes or something.
Exactly.
It's so awesome.
So I fully support the whole concept of doing this WebKit UI and having the browser installed and stuff. So
absolutely. Okay, so the second part in the video though is about the hexagon asset kind of thing, the red hexagons.
Right.
And so what does he say about those? Oh yeah, he's using them to introduce some platforming elements. Doesn't he say something like that?
Yep, he did.
So I don't know if that was affected by my platform level or something, but whatever. I probably shouldn't take too much of the credit. But I think they have been thinking about adding platforming stuff for a long time because platforming in a game like this is so much fun, because just jumping is fun, so adding an incentive to jump around and use awesome moves, if it's like, why not?
Right.
And he talks about the linearity of levels. He doesn't want to make his levels linear. He actually says that he doesn't build his level around that, okay, so the player should be able to go there and there and there. he like builds just a place, and then he lets the player perhaps, figure out on his own the different ways he can solve the level, so to speak. Because it is kind of a mind, a thinking thing. You need to solve the level. You can't just run in most of the time.
Right. Yeah, which I agree with. I like being able to go back and replay a map and try it a different way than I've done in the past. So, I think it's great to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's also good. It's good for a number of reasons. First off, it probably speeds up his production when he doesn't have to think about a lot of extra stuff. And also it adds, depth without making it obvious. In some games, for instance, it's like when you come to a place, for example, if we say Crisis, for example, when you get your sniper rifle, okay, the sniper rifle is like on in some kind of sandbagged place, on the top of a cliff overlooking a little encampment. It's just so obvious, it's almost not a choice for the player. The player is supposed to pick up the sniper rifle and shoot some guys. That's what he's supposed to do. Even though the game is kind of open-ended in a sort of way. And
Sure.
That's just not very organic. It just doesn't feel right, because it kind of brings me out of the game when I think, oh, there's a sniper rifle there. Oh, there's a huge village over there with lots of guys in it. So I guess I should kill some of those with this sniper rifle. It just feels weird to me. And doing it like more focus on the place itself, I suppose, instead of the gameplay around it, allows you to feel more immersed in it, because it feels more believable when there is not a sniper rifle just lying there. Yeah, you know what I
Right.
mean.
Yep.
So that's good. I like that, and also it allows for solutions that the map maker didn't think of, because he didn't really think of many solutions when he made it. So yeah, very cool. A lot of subtle solutions and stuff like that aren't obvious, because you're never meant to be able to solve it in a specific way. It's just there, and then you can solve it however you want. It's cool.
Right.
Hexagons. These hexagons, by the way, weren't they inspired by something in reality?
The Giant's Causeway in
Where, perhaps I can find a picture of that. I want to see. How's that spelled?
Giant
The giant. Yes, but the last
Yeah.
part.
Causeway, CAUSEWAY.
Yeah, I found it.
Okay.
It actually had a correction thingy. Okay, so I have a few pictures here. Let's see. Let me go back to see my desktop. There we go. So this is actually a natural formation, right? Let's
Yes.
find a bigger picture. Big picture.
And the actually Wikipedia, if you go to Wikipedia, has some amazing photographs of basalt in general, which is the mineral that forms the Giant's Causeway, and there's actually these types of formations all around the world that look very man-made, but they're actually completely natural. So it's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, it looks really nice. Although these are kind of smaller than the ones in Aubrey's art video, though. But that doesn't really matter, because it's a video
Well,
game.
it's hard to tell for sure. I think it will zoom a little bigger even. It's hard to tell for sure because there's no real reference. Oh, there is. There's people that time.
Yeah. I don't know,
But-
maybe there are bigger ones. I have no idea.
But also, if you look at the ones that Aubrey designed, they're big hexagons, but then they're made up of small hexagons within inside of that. So
Oh, yeah.
maybe there's a point to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. It's very cool in any case. I mean, just that there are these kind of formations in reality. I mean, it kind of feels unreal. It's very weird.
Right. Well, that Aubrey talks about that a lot, where there are things that occur in nature that feel unnatural if you incorporate them into a video game, because it feels just unnatural, and players tend to they don't understand it quite as much. Like they don't let it doesn't feel as organic to them.
Yeah, exactly. I remember he talked about that in a blog post, I think it was, as well. And it's very true. Sometimes you come in real life, you come to places that just feel unnatural. And I guess you don't want the player to feel like that in a video game, because when it feels unnatural in a video game, I mean, um, he gets the feeling that this is not right, this is not how it's supposed to be, and you don't want the player to get that feeling in a video game. Right.
Right.
So that's kind of bad, I suppose, because you do want to include fantastic places in your video game that aren't unreal. I mean, that's the best kind of stuff to add, right? The stuff that is to a game like Overgrowth, stuff that is fantastic, but is also available in real life. So that's kind of
exactly.
bad. I don't know if there's any way to solve that.
I think just a matter of getting to, having the chance to sort of approach these places organically, I think is the best way to do it, where nothing, if things don't feel exactly the same all the time, then when you reach these sort of outlandish places, that you're more likely to accept it than if you're in a very uniform place and then all of a sudden you reach something that sticks out. So
yeah, that's true. That's a good point. If you just keep it fantastic all the way through, it won't feel as weird.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how we want our games to be fantastic. Fantastic.
Exactly.
So that's cool. Was there anything else in that video we should mention, you think?
He mentioned the color, that he had everything tinted red, and I sort of wonder if he actually tinted them red after the fact, or if they were drawn tinted red, which was sort of a question we had about how much can you change the color of objects once they are already colored.
Yeah, I think actually it says in the video that you can tint them any way you want. So I think he tinted them in the game. I think, don't quote me on that. It sounds like that's what he's saying in the video, at least. And I'm not sure. Actually, I'm thinking. Yeah, I don't know. Perhaps they could. Perhaps they could add. What if they added another color map, where each color, let's say there are 4 colors, and then you can tint each of those colors individually. So let's say we have a pillow that is striped, and in the game you can then use the color picker to, color each stripe, for instance, individually.
That sounds... Huh?
Wouldn't that be kind of cool?
It would be kind of cool. Aubrey... Oh, go ahead.
Because that would allow... Because the tinting right now allows the editor to use one asset for much more than it's meant for. And doing it like this would allow the level editor dude, the mapper, to do so even more than just with the tinting. It would be very, very cool. But maybe it's much more extra work for Aubrey, though. I don't know.
They did mention the potential of masking, so you could mask certain colors and only mask certain areas and things like that. But Marcus is complaining that it's lazy for mappers to not just create their own assets in Photoshop.
Yeah, I don't agree really. Sure, if it could be. But if you think about it, if you do it like this with this stuff, okay, if you make it so that you can shift the color more on a better scale, I don't know what I'm talking about. You can shift the colors individually, several different colors. That means that you do not have to go into Photoshop, and that means that you can save, you can do what would have taken perhaps 2 minutes or something, because you need to open up Photoshop, you need to open up picture, you need to select the right colors and do your adjustments or whatever, and then you need to save it, and then you need to look at it in the game. Now you can just select an object, press Control P or whatever it is, and then switch the colors on the fly. You can see right away how it looks. It's just very, very awesome. I mean, you can change the feel in an entire city very easily by just switching out colors, for instance.
Right. I think it also optimizes the engine a little bit, where you only have to load a single object, and then the colors can be varied from object to object. So
Yeah, they wouldn't need a color map. Right?
possibly,
So so they could,
I don't know how that works.
yeah, maybe they could just load a black and white map. I don't know if that's much smaller though. But anyways, so they could, instead of having the color in the texture, they could perhaps change the color in the XML files or something. But that would perhaps also, I'm thinking that this could also take too much power away from the textures, from the texture maker, if he can't select exactly what color he wants. I don't know.
That's true.
Well, it's certainly something I think would be very cool. But it's very good as it is right now. I mean, not many games allow you to tint your objects at all, so just having this
Right.
is enough, I suppose.
I think it's a cool option, especially for, for the average, modder who just wants to mod things in game and sort of get started. I think it's a great tool, no matter what. So
Exactly. And Marcus points out that it takes the original artist a lot longer than 1 to 2 minutes to make the original texture. Yeah, it does. But I was talking about when taking 1 to 2 minutes. I was talking about the color change, just changing the colors on an object, because that's what this feature would do. And someone said also, Marcus states that lots of games have this ability, and I don't know about that. I have only seen it in this game. I think Crysis has it as well, and perhaps Unreal Engine. I don't know. I'm not sure. But is it this easy, really, in those engines to do that? I'm not sure, man. Anyways, even if other engines do have it, no matter, it's still awesome.
I agree.
So I saw some in the comments down here for this one. People talked about the jumping. Actually, the first one here. And people are saying that it feels kind of floaty when the rabbit jumps. You can make like huge jumps, and it feels like almost you're using a jetpack when you're jumping.
Uh-huh.
Do you agree with that, or what do you think about the jumping?
The jumping is very big right now, but I think that will be something that is tweaked over time from potentially from character to character, and and it's moddable. So if they don't like it, they could always go and turn it down.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about doing that. I actually was kind of tempted to go in and try to change the jumping to be more realistic, more have a more kind of physical feel to it. But well, I just got home today, so I haven't had a lot of time to even do that.
Right.
Plus,
they're rabbits; they can jump.
Yeah, exactly. They can jump, but some people said that it should be perhaps it should be just quicker or whatever. And as you say, they will most certainly tweak it in the future. But I actually agree that the jumping isn't. It does feel kind of floaty right now. It almost, actually, in the script they even have a function, I think it's called. I'm not sure what it's called. They have a thing. I'm gonna call it a thing in the scripts that's called jetpack fuel. And this is basically depleted when you hold the spacebar, and when it's out, you can't jump anymore. So if you up that value, you can jump like forever. It's like you're having a jetpack. You just keep on going up as long as you hold space.
Interesting.
So that's probably why it does feel kind of floaty. But I think if they like up to the speed or something, it could be solved. I mean, no problem for David to like fix this stuff. He's pro.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's about it for the art asset overview for this week. So let's move on to the community part of the agenda. And first here was an interview with Johannes, but unfortunately he is not with us today, and I'm not sure why he isn't here. I guess there was some kind of miscommunication or something. So we're going to have to skip that, unfortunately. And yeah, we'll have it next week though. So then don't worry about that. We will have the interview. So next up is the fan art watch, which is a weekly thing we have here as well. Perhaps I'm thinking about moving it up to the weekly alpha heading actually. Anyways, that's besides the point. The fan art watch is I'm looking at a fan art thread on the forums where there currently are 43 pages of Overgrowth fan art. Well, it's not exclusively Overgrowth fan art. There are comments as well. And this week there is only one piece of art. And that piece of art is made by Quaz. I think it's supposed to be pronounced Quaz or Kaz or something. And that is a picture of Rabot 3.0. Because as you probably know, in a previous Overgrowth Alpha, and I think it was the art asset overview before this one, before the tutorial that was last week, Aubrey showed off Rabot 2.0, which is a, what's it called, like not reenactment, it's a remake.
Reimagination.
Reimagination, yes, thank you, Anton. Anton, I don't. Let's get your name straight. Is it Anton or Anton?
I say Anton.
Okay, Anton. Thank you, Anton.
You're welcome. But
yeah.
But there is the other community member named Anton. To not confuse me with Tonjavik is Anton. So.
Oh, so he's Anton and you're Anton.
Yes, and they're spelled the same way.
Oh, I see. Yeah, if you lived in Sweden, it would totally be Anton. But you don't, so it's Anton. Anyways, we should probably talk about Rabot 3.0. And what do you think about this piece of fan art?
I really like his style a lot, actually. And it's cool. The robotic intestines are kind of cool looking. I don't know if there's another way to put it, but yeah. I like it. I like the style and the look, and it's a very cool adaptation of Aubrey's Rabot 2.0.
Absolutely. He looks much heavier and much more, I'm going to kill you now, kind of, if you see what I mean. He looks more angry, more like he's going to kill me, especially since he has only one arm, and the other arm that is whole, it has loads of blood on it, so yeah, he looks very angry. Let's take a look at the Rabot 2.0 because he's in the alpha. So in the alpha you press 9, I think, to spawn Robert, or 8. Okay, it's 8.
8 and then 6 to switch to.
Yes, 6 to switch to Rabot 2.0. And this guy isn't fully rigged properly yet. It's just a quick test model, I suppose. So there you have the 2.0 made by Aubrey. And there you have the 3.0 made by Quaz. Actually, Quaz had another fan art in last week's weekly, I think. Yeah, it was the same guy.
Yep.
Let's take a look at that as well. This one is a rabbit running on the wall, just because it's related. We took a look at it last week, but it's sweet. So you can see that it's made by the same guy. It kind of has the same style to it.
Right.
Very awesome style. So I hope we get to see more from Quaz in the future. Very, very awesome stuff.
Yep. Way to go.
And that's actually all there is for the art, what am I saying? Fan art overview for this week. Fan art watch is what it's called. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm calling my own segments, whatever. That's all. There was only one piece of art this week. That was kind of weird. It never happened before. You guys need to post more art. Okay, so let's move on to the next part, and that is NextBAM's custom character. Let's load that up. So this is made by NextBAM on the forums. Let me post that link in the chat so you can see where I'm at. And this is a fan art character made by NextBAM, as I've said like 3 times now, and it's a turtle. It's a turtle dude. Right now, it's not a lot to look at. Well, actually, it's kind of awesome already, but there are no textures and he's not in the game, or I don't think he's rigged either yet. But
I don't think so either.
yeah, still very awesome so far. Very awesome. I'm going to follow this, what happens with this model. See it take form and go into the game. So that's going to be quite exciting. And other than this 3D view of the character, he actually posted a... What's that sound?
Sorry, my mic is slipping, so I was just tightening
Okay,
the boom on it.
no problem. He uploaded a picture, another picture of AI that he actually apparently didn't make, that he is going to use in the texture, and this is kind of weird to me. I don't know why he uploaded this picture. Let's see what he wrote. Had some time to make a hit on the eyes. Here's what I got so far. Iris texture, not mine. Probably gonna make my own in the end, but this is how I want the eyes to look like, I think. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, he should probably start working on the full texture right away. Because it might look weird if his eyes are super detailed and the rest of him is not super detailed. I don't know. It just feels like the eyes are a minor part of the project, so it would be logical if he started working on the normal texture first. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, I'm a musician, you know.
Yeah.
Artists, you know, but I would say, you know, some people just kind of get inspired to work in a certain area, and that's kind of where they start and they focus. I know musically, you know, we don't always start at the beginning and work from beginning to end, so, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes that may be the thing that gets you going.
Yeah, exactly. I can agree with that, actually, that you don't need to... Like, if he's not motivated to work on the texture for the body, then he probably shouldn't. I mean, it's as easy as that. That's actually a pretty good point. That's how I work most of the time. I'm like, I want to make X, and then I just do it. And if I don't feel like making Y after X, then I don't. Then I move on to, like, Z instead. You know, so it's better, most often it's just better to work on what you think it's fun, especially when it's not your work. I mean, there's no reason to do stuff that you don't enjoy doing.
Right. But
So
of course you'd like to see this finished so you can have it in game, so that would
Yeah.
be more exciting for you.
Exactly. So I hope he will start working on the texture for the dude, and so we can see him in game soon. That would be awesome. And also, this guy would need actually a new rig, I think. I don't think he would look very good in the current rig, since he doesn't have the bipedal. Is that what it's called? Bipedal kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I hope... I think I asked David about this, and he said that it was pretty advanced to make your own rigs and use them in the game and such, so he was going to make a tutorial for that at some point, but that could be like whenever, far in the future or whatever. But I hope he does make it pretty soon. I just want to be able to make my own rigs and get stuff into the game, because I actually have my own model that I have made that I could get into the game. I actually have a few animations for it as well. And
I think I've seen it.
Yeah, it's kind of a little doll kind of dude.
Yep.
And I think other people would be very happy to be able to get their stuff into the game as well. It's just very
I agree.
exciting, very exciting. I want more doors to open up for me. And yeah, that's about it for that. For next BAM's custom character there. We're going to follow up on that if he keeps working on it in the following Overgrowth Weekly, so come back next week for an update on that, or just check out the thread, or whatever. And next here in the community segment is a walking, within quotes, mini mod, and this is another small mod I made. I made before a mod that fixes the camera in a specific position, and this mod, you can download it on the forums. I will post a link in a little while. It allows you to hit F, and the character will start walking instead of, running like he usually does all the time. So and then you hit F to toggle it back. And actually, I had it so that you had to hold F before, but Anton was smart enough to suggest that I should just have it be a toggle, and that makes much more sense because it's kind of hard to do anything while you're holding F.
Yeah. Well, and there were some interesting repercussions to that at first too.
Oh yeah.
Where there was a point where all of your enemies would only walk, and you would run around and could beat them up really easily, or everyone walked, and then when they got to the combat, all of a sudden they would move really quickly. It was pretty amusing.
Yeah, it was weird. The thing was that I had done was that I have a boolean, a true or false thingy in my code. That's like is walking or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that's true, he walks, and when it's false, he runs. And I just changed that depending on, toggle it with the F button, as simple as that. And I had that set to true as default, and since the characters, the NPCs, use the same code as,
Right.
the player character, they had with the walking set to true as default. So all the enemies were like walking slowly towards you and then beat you up really furiously when they arrived. It was actually pretty funny.
It was. Very amusing.
So that's about it with this kind of very, very, very small mod. I'm going to post a link to that in the chat, so you guys can download it if you're interested. So let's do that right away. Actually, what's next on the agenda? All right, just a small piece of news. And So I'm not sure. Walking in Overgrowth. Do you think they should have walking in Overgrowth?
I've certainly found times when it can be useful. And if running feels like you're always hurrying. So certainly the mod for it is, I think, very useful, and you can really sort of slow down and appreciate what you're walking by and around and stuff. Something I always liked in games like Assassin's Creed and stuff. So I don't think it would hurt to have it as an option.
I agree. I guess they could make it meld it with the sneaking or something. I don't know. I'm sure.
That's true. That's the one thing that I always found hard in Lugaru was sneaking around. You had to crouch or roll, and it always felt silly to be crouching just to walk slowly.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
So, and platforming was the same thing, where in Lugaru, to get right up to an edge, you had to crouch, and crouching never felt exactly accurate compared to what I think walking could do.
Yeah, I agree, actually. It's kind of like the movements are just too quick somehow.
Yep.
So having a way to move slower is good. So hope they consider that. I don't know if it actually would work in the game, since we're not actually very awesome game developers ourselves. We are probably not the people to make educated little sounding statements about this, but yeah, might be something worth looking into. By the way, I posted the link in the chat right there, so check that out if you're a live listener, viewer, dude. And that's actually all there is for the community part, the community segment of this week. And next up we have the tweets and news segment. And there is only one piece of news this week, not a very eventful week this time. 10,000 Wolfire YouTube subscribers. So Wolfire broke the 10,000 subscriber barrier on YouTube. So
they broke it? Last time I read it, I had read that they were still 40 away or something.
Yeah, they're at 10,064 right now. So they broke it all right. So that's pretty awesome. So if you haven't subscribed to Wolfire Games on YouTube yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. I'm posting a link in the live chat right there. So to get here, you guys go to youtube.com/wolfiregames and subscribe to them, because they make awesome videos. They have 119 videos or something so far. Pretty crazy how many videos there are,
True.
when you keep uploading them. They just stack.
Yes. Yep.
So that's awesome. Subscribe to them. And I think that's about it for this week, for this Overgrowth Weekly, actually. Too bad Johannes couldn't be with us here today, actually. That's too bad. But I'll interview him next week instead, so that's no problem.
We padded it out to an hour anyway, so...
Yeah. Actually, I want to add one more thing. Since we have this... I want this Overgrowth Weekly, this thing, to be as community-driven as possible, because Wolfire, they care so much about the community, and I'm part of the community, and so it makes sense that I want to involve the community as much as possible in this as well. So if you want to be on Overgrowth Weekly, if you have what it takes, do you think you have what it takes to be on Overgrowth Weekly? Then send me an email at Overgrowth Weekly, OGWeekly at gmail.com. So that's OGWeekly at gmail.com. Copy that, and then I can post that there. 60 OGWeekly, and that's supposed to be a at. Okay, my at doesn't work. Well, that's cool. Let me copy this link address. Damn this! Why doesn't my at work? There we go. OGWeekly at gmail.com. There we go. At last. So send an email there if you want to be on Overgrowth Weekly, and I will consider it. We need to check that so that your mic is good and all that. And especially, long-time community members are especially welcome. If you just found out about Overgrowth, you might not have a lot to say or whatever. Well, you probably know yourself. So... anyways, that's awesome. So, and also, if you have something that you feel should be on the agenda, just send me an email to there as well and tell me about it, because, I can't be everywhere always. So, yeah. Awesome. We're going to wrap this up now. Is there anything you want to add before we go, Anton?
There was my one little mention to anyone who's playing in the Overgrowth Volunteer Orchestra that your recordings are due in about a week, so make sure you upload those to the website we provided in the emails.
Yeah, and if you haven't, if you don't know about this at all, is there still a chance for you to submit your stuff? For the most part, we're trying to not encourage it, but certainly more string players are always useful. So if you want to submit, you could send us an email, overgrowthorchestra@gmail.com. I can type that in for you guys. Overgrowthorchestra@gmail.com.
So, we're about a week away. So actually, starting March 1st is when is the deadline for submissions. So starting after that, I will actually start doing some live streaming of me editing that piece together from all the different submissions that we get. So that will be something else you guys can tune into to watch.
Sweet.
So that would be the other positive aspect of that. So everyone needs to get their files to me, because I really do want to get going right away with the editing. So
yeah, and yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Where is the stream? Where will you be streaming it?
I actually don't remember the name of the stream off the top of my head. We still have at least a week, so I'll mention it again next week.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I'll give you a link and stuff.
Nice. So yeah, next week we'll talk some more about that. And I think that's about it, actually. So, oh, by the way, last week you reminded me to wish John happy birthday on the stream, but I totally forgot.
Oh.
So I'm going to do that now instead. So John Graham from Wolfire Games had his birthday the day before last week's stream, was it?
Yes, it was February 12th.
Yes. So happy birthday, John. We all love you and your beard. But yeah, the beard is kind of gone, but we hope that he will make a comeback at some point. And yeah, So let me just get these links out of the way. So if you want more of this stuff, just follow me on Justin TV for starters. Just click the follow button on there, and you can follow me. And on YouTube as well, you go to youtube.com/OGWeekly. And you can also go to OGWeekly.com, of course, so www.OGWeekly.com. And I have a Twitter account, that's twitter.com/OGWeekly. There's also a Steam community group, and that's steamcommunity.com/groups/SFTUT. So that's the one that's a bit different from the other ones. So steamcommunity.com/groups/SFTUT. I should probably make a short URL for that. So, but that's about it. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for your support. I hope you tune in next week as well. Same time, same place. And I'll see you then. Bye bye.
Thanks. See you guys.